people need to realize is we write songs that we want to write. What is dangerous is if you start listening to everyone and start changing who you are to please everyone, because at the end of the day, even if you do change your sound, there's still going to be a percentage of people out there not happy with it. So I think as long as you're writing authentically to what you want to sound like, then you're good.
Hi, I'm Kelly from AMS, and I'm here at Irving Plaza with Howard from Within Destruction. How you doing, Howard?
I'm great. This is our second to last show of the tour. We're all kind of exhausted, but a little bit sad that everything's coming to an end.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm super glad to be here in New York, and I'm super happy to be in Boston tomorrow.
Oh, you're going to Boston tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I went to school in Boston.
Oh, nice. Where at?
Berkeley College of Music.
Oh, sick. I actually went to the 5-week when I was like 16, 17.
Oh,
that 5-week
really?
program for like high schoolers. Yeah, it's awesome. Like that campus is amazing. The instructors there are next level. I'm super thankful I got that experience.
Well, you guys have to keep things pretty organized when you're touring, I'm sure, because you do a lot of it on your own, right?
Yeah, so we do have a manager, Shelter Music. They'll give us like tour offers and everything like that, but at the end of the day, it's up to us to decide whether or not the numbers are good for us to actually pursue this tour.
I've heard you guys also don't tour with guitar techs, is that right?
Yeah, that is correct. We do everything ourselves. I set up guitars and I set up the rack myself. Luca, our drummer, does his own drums. We do have a merch person, but our vocalist Rook will take care of that as well. So yeah, everyone's kind of in deep with the whole process. Yes.
So how do you manage to like keep everything streamlined with so few people on your team there?
It's a lot of trial and error. We've run through a few iterations of our rig, and you just kind of pick up things here and there from other bands. Like for example, on this tour, let's go back. Previously, we were using the Behringer X32, and we were just doing 2 line outs out of that and mixing with an iPad.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it's insane. So after that, added a splitter because we were touring with bands and we were noticing that, everyone has a splitter. No one's just doing left, right, out. And after that, we added like an S16. So yeah, it's just stuff that you pick up along the way. Obviously, it's an ever-growing process. And sometimes you got to add things. Sometimes you got to take away things. And obviously, being a three-person band, we aren't able to carry everything that we want. You know what I mean? So streamlining is very important.
Yeah, but you guys still manage to sound really, really full. You wouldn't ever know listening to you that it's only the 3 of you.
Yeah. Thanks. That's. We try to incorporate all sounds from the album, so we actually will have stems from the album, whether it's like synths or like pads or certain textures and effects here and there. Since we don't have a bassist, we do have a bassist on this tour, but in general we're a 3-piece band. We also have bass on tracks, so yeah, it's 3 people. It's easy because it's only 3 people, but at the same time, trying to achieve all the sounds that you put out there on your album, you'll kind of need to work around it.
Right. If you could have another player that played anything except bass, what instrument would you want them to play and why?
Ooh. You know what? I think having a DJ/synth guy would be so sick.
That would be cool.
I mean, it kind of contradicts what I just said because I was talking about how like all the production stuff's on tracks, but if we had a guy live triggering it and maybe even doing backup vocals, like one of my favorite bands is Crossfaith, and they have a DJ, and I think it just elevates the show to another level. So probably a synth guy /DJ. You know what I mean?
That would be super, super cool.
Yeah.
I've heard you guys talk before about how picking a set list can be difficult. Like, what kind of things goes into it when you're thinking about a set list?
So it kind of depends on what kind of tour we're on. If it's a heavier tour, obviously we're going to bring out anything from our deathcore era. If it's somewhat of a more mixed bag, like kind of like this sim tour, we'll kind of go along the vibe of what every band is like. That way we consider the people that are coming to our show what they would like, because at the end of the day, it's a lot of their first times hearing us,
Right.
and we want to, we want them. So yeah.
Yeah, I've heard you guys talk before about getting your start internationally and trying to, grow your fan base in the US and stuff. And I've heard somebody mention that you thought maybe you would get a little traction earlier in your career if you had started in the US to begin with. I was curious to hear about why that might be or why you think that might be true.
I think a lot of it is just because the overwhelming majority of our fans are based in the US, and I think it's the case for most metal bands anyway. The market for the US is just huge, and for a international band coming into the US, there's a few more barriers of entry, such as visas, transportation costs, accommodations, everything like that. It adds up. So I think from the beginning stages of the band, definitely opportunities to the US were less just because of those barriers. But it maybe if we were a US band, maybe we would be able to take off. But at the same time, being from Slovenia and being a European band, that's also a draw in itself, being a foreign band touring in the US. So roughly, I would say that's kind of why. But
Do you have any advice for international bands that are looking to break into the US metal scene?
I mean, this is the advice that I would give anyone is just make sure your songs are good because that is your main currency. And yeah, it really is just grinding. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't in the band when they first came to the US. But they've done tours that were good. They've done tours that were really bad. And it's just, in the beginning, you do have to kind of take what you can in order to grow your fan base touring. So yeah, just keep grinding and just really put emphasis into writing good music.
What makes good music to you?
Something memorable that has a vibe, something that you listen to once and, a few minutes later or a few hours later throughout the day, you're thinking about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, catchy, earworm.
Exactly. Like just hooks and hooks. Yeah.
I know you guys released instrumental versions of a couple of your albums. Why did you choose to release the instrumentals? And is instrumental music different to you than vocal music? Does it serve a different purpose?
Totally. I think, we don't write instrumental songs, so we write we write to have space for vocals, and we keep vocals in mind. The reason why we put out instrumental albums is because sometimes when you have a track with vocals, sometimes what's going on in instrumentals, like certain fills or certain guitar runs are less prominent. And for our fans who are musicians, maybe they want to hear like the more intricate details here and there. So yeah, that's kind of why we do it. We do have songs that are instrumental. Off Yokai, the song Sakura is instrumental. Off Lotus, Ultima is instrumental. And the writing process for both of those songs are different than writing for a song with vocals, because at that point I'm replacing vocal hooks with guitar hooks.
Oh,
you know
interesting.
What I mean? So
Yeah.
it kind of functions more as a main line instrument, whereas songs with vocals, it's just more providing
support.
Yeah, exactly. You want to support the song, and with an instrumental song, you can do whatever you want. You still have to have your hooks, but you have more leeway
room,
in terms of a guitarist. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. And do you guys do that writing separately, or are you guys in the same room?
We usually will write separately.
Okay.
So I'll usually start the demoing process. I'm always writing. It doesn't matter where in the album cycle we are. I'm always going to be writing. So if I have a demo that I think is suitable for us, I'll bring it to the guys and then I'll get some feedback. Or maybe sometimes Luca will come to me with an idea and then I'll sit down with it. And, the next day or like a few days later, I have a demo. So we kind of go back and forth. We don't really sit together and write together in a room. I don't think we've ever done that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's a lot of back and forth and a lot of, just a lot of feedback.
So if you didn't start out writing together, how did you know that you would write together well?
So I think That's a good question. Like how did they?
How did you know that it was going to all come together and work together if you had never written in the same place before?
I think when I was joining the band initially, before I joined the band, I was showing the guys my demos, just on a tour. I was a session member for them, for one of the tours, and I was sort of trying out for them. So I just showed them the demos, and our ideas for where the band wants to go was aligned. You know what I mean?
Right.
At this point, we were more of a deathcore band, and we wanted to transition into more of a metalcore sound, and that's already sort of the direction that I wanted to push my creativity. So it did make sense at that time, and yeah, the other two guys just kind of trust me with the writing process, and yeah, it's a lot of trust for sure.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're all on the same page, so we don't really have anything to lose.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
When you are transitioning your sound like that, if you know, used to sound one way and now are going to sound another, I know like fans can get really bent out of shape about it, really frustrated when the sound of a band changes. How do you guys handle that? Like, how do you stay authentic and also still please the fans?
I think at the end of the day, what people need to realize is we write songs that we want to write. I think what becomes what is dangerous is if you start listening to everyone and start changing who you are to please everyone, because at the end of the day, even if you do change your sound, there's still going to be a percentage of people out there not happy with it. So I think as long as you're writing authentically to what you want to sound like, then you're good. You know what I mean? So transitioning from, I don't know, deathcore to metalcore wasn't that crazy. We just did what we wanted. People who liked it stayed. People who don't like it will leave. But, at the same time, just transitioning allows you to bring more people in, more people that are in that metalcore sphere. And yeah, we're not really phased about it because it's what we want to sound like, it's what we like.
What do you feel like are the main differences between metalcore and deathcore?
For me, metalcore it's got more hooks. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, deathcore bands now do have more hooks, but I'm talking like clean choruses, major minor stuff, basically like pop style formats, but disguised with metal instrumentation. You know what I mean?
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And I mean, at the end of the day, like we're all huge pop fans. Like we listen to so much pop music, so we want it to be more in that realm.
Is there any music that you think fans would be surprised to hear that you listen to?
I mean, recently, I don't know. I don't think they would be surprised because we've stated from like day one that we are huge fans of K-pop, huge fans of J-pop, J-rock. I've been getting into country on this tour.
Oh, cool.
Maybe that's surprising.
That is surprising. I'm surprised.
I mean, I'm sort of writing more lyrics, and also I'm sort of writing more vocal hooks, and I like to analyze different music, different kinds of musics by how they approach that. Country is like very storytelling, and
of course,
the melodies and everything is very unique. So, and it's quite different than anything that I've listened to previously. So yeah, I would say
it really makes an informed musician when you can take all those style influences and like blend them together seamlessly the way that you guys do.
Thank you. Yeah. And sometimes you're just curious, you know what I mean? And you never know unless you give it a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. Well, is there anything coming up for you guys that you're excited about?
Yeah. So we actually just dropped a single today.
Oh, wow.
It's called ANIMETAL, and it's out on all streaming platforms. We made this insane music video that we spent so much time and effort on, and I think it's our best video. It's going to be premiering on Crunchyroll.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. The song's called ANIMETAL, which is anime metal, which is why it's on Crunchyroll.
Cool. Super exciting.
Yeah.
So I see you have your guitar here. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So this is a Jackson Misha, I believe it's a Juggernaut 7-string. This is the Indonesian model. The reason why I like this guitar so much is because of the EverTune. This bridge essentially keeps all your strings tuned. Each individual saddle has a spring that's kind of matching or countermatching the tension of the springs. So you tune, instead of tuning up here, you've got this little key and you just tune down here. You'll set the tension with the headstock tuners. It's quite unconventional, and it definitely is very different took me some time to get used to. However, I gotta say, it's probably one of the best things to come out of, the guitar tech world in the last 20 years or so, I would say. So yeah, every tour that I have, I will bring a guitar with an EverTune. The other guitar might have a hardtail or a trem, but I need at least one guitar with an EverTune. It's always reliable. I haven't tuned this thing since day one.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, maybe I have to make a few adjustments here and there because it does get pushed sharp or flat depending on the climate. However, like, that's nothing. That's no work whatsoever. And it's so easy to adjust action, intonation. In terms of bridges, this is, in my opinion, the best thing on the market. What else is here? I think these are stock Jackson pickups, the ones that Misha made. There's a 5-way switch over here, which is really nice for split coil stuff. This is the tone, and it pulls up. Yeah. This is the tone, and this is the volume. Locking tuners, and we have a roasted maple neck. And the shape of this neck is quite thin. Not too thin, it's quite comfortable, but I wouldn't say it's like an Ibanez neck or something like that. In terms of the body, this is a soloist body with sort of this arch top design, which is great. I love it. It's super comfortable, and it's got this insane, super light blue finish that maybe it's white, maybe it's blue. It depends on
The
where.
world may never know.
We'll never really know. You know what I mean? So yeah, I dig this guitar a lot, and I'm super thankful that I got it for this tour.
Awesome. A huge thank you to Howard from Within Destruction for being here with us today. For more content like this, make sure to like and subscribe, and head on over to AmericanMusical.com for all the gear mentioned in this video.